Bum, bum. Hey, kia ora. Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap number 1423. Networking Riches Day 1. Oh my gosh, what an awesome day we've had. But first of all, you can't see her on the screen. She's sitting over there. It's interesting how the different programs you go into do different screenshots. Like on Zoom, it's very wide. Like you would see both the doors on either side of notice my curtains. So for those of you who've been following me for a while, notice that the boxes have disappeared behind the curtains, and the curtains have made a reappearance here. We went out last night and spent $10 and got a tension rod and hung them up. But anyway, so we had Networking Riches today, 2.0. And it was phenomenal. We had a lot of people show up for it today. And the information again was awesome. And if you've been following me for a while, you know my favorite part of Networking Riches is, well, not only do you learn information about how to network, where to network, where to find your clients and your customers and things like that. People you want to work with, joint ventures, all of that sort of stuff. The part that I love the most on this is the breakthrough zones. And the breakthrough zones are always amazing. We always get at least one that knocks it out of the ballpark. And we had one of those today. I mean, we had three. We actually had three. We got 3 breakthrough zones in today on day 1, which I don't think we've ever done that before. I'm trying to think back. I don't think we've ever done that before. And it was amazing. We had one that just knocked it out of the ballpark. I mean, I'm sitting there and I'm taking notes after notes. I think I ended up with a couple of pages of notes there. But it was incredible. And when I go into these breakthrough zones, I go on with the attitude of, how can I make the advice they give work for my businesses? Yes, I said businesses. Or work for, and I might name a business because maybe I'm looking to do more, thinking of ways to promote the genealogy side of the things. And so I will go in with, how can I use the information they give today to grow my genealogy business? Or how can I use the information today to grow my travel business? And just, sorry, I'm fiddling with a slinky. I got my slinky. I got my little fiddle box thing that clicks, it slicks, and then I've got this little twisty thing that I always end up twisting into this shape here. I'm sorry, put that down. Stop fiddling. But I'm always asking, how can I make this work for XYZ business? And when you go in with that approach, you're listening in a different way. Instead of listening to an idea and going, oh, that doesn't work, I can't use that in my business. Your brain starts going, oh, you go, oh, that's a good idea. And your brain kicks into gear on, how can I make that work for my XYZ business? And when you start listening in that way, you hear a lot more, you learn a lot more, you're open to what's going on. So that's one of my favorite things about the breakthrough zone, is that you never know what information you're gonna learn. And it also opens you up to ways that things that you can improve to run different types of businesses. And people will go, oh, but that one over there is to do with car sales. I'm not in car sales. I'm in something else. But there are techniques that are given that a car sales person has that can be utilized in multiple different types of businesses. You may not be selling cars, but you could be selling furniture. What's the difference? The product. That's it. The techniques are the same. The skill sets are the same. The techniques are the same. It's just a different product. So any business that you are in the business of sales in some form or another. Whether it's sharing, you create marketing plans for people, and then you're selling those marketing plans to other businesses. You are selling a marketing plan to a business. All that changes is the product. And that's what you got to look at when somebody turns around and goes, oh, they're talking to complete mind blank right now. I'm sorry. They're talking to somebody who owns a catering business. Well, I don't own a catering business. I don't need to listen. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Because then you turn around and you say, okay, what information are they, what advice are they giving to a catering business? And, how can I make the advice they're giving to a catering business work for my business? Now you're looking, you've changed the language, you've changed how you're looking at things, you've changed how you're listening to things, and magic happens. All of a sudden, you're writing pages of notes, and it's just such an amazing thing when you switch. Just make that little switch, like, oh, they're talking catering. I don't know anything about the catering business. I'm not interested. I'm checking out. No, check in. How can I make that stuff work for my business? And yes, there are times that you will come across information or advice that will not work for your business, but unless you listen with how can I make this work, your brain's going to go into a different pattern of, oh, that's not for me. I'm out of here. I'm checking out for a while. I'll just take myself off. I'll just turn my camera off so people can't see me. Be active, be engaged, listen with different ears, change the language. How can I make that work for my business? And there will be some ideas that you'll go, well, that sounds a little strange, but you know what? If I tweak it this way for my business, and your brain's going, well, hang on, we could tweak it slightly and do it this way. And you're sort of, oh. And this is when I love the Networking Riches. They highlight the coaches, and they spotlight the coaches and the person that they're coaching. But I like to, there's times I like to switch to the gallery mode because I like watching other people's faces, because all of a sudden you see the, oh, and then you see the head go down as they start writing, or you see the, and you can tell that they're busy typing things on their computer. It is such an incredible thing to watch. It's such an amazing thing to witness. And that's why I love the breakthrough zone so much, because when you change the way you listen to things, oh, that's catering, that's got nothing to do with my business. Change it to how can I make this advice work for my business? You're listening with a different set of ears, and ideas will start flowing. You will be listening with like, ooh, yeah, I could use that, because a lot of business practices and a lot of business stuff that on how running a business is very similar. And all you're doing is changing the product. You're changing what you're selling. You're changing what your business marketing is. Catering, they're selling food. They're selling catering events, catering services for events and things like that. You could be in the event business. Well, heck, I need a caterer. And there's a lot of stuff in catering when you're running a catering business that apply to different other businesses, because a lot of business practices are actually the same thing. It's just changing the product. So when you listen with the ears of how can I make this work for my business, you're coming at it from a very different angle. And a lot of people will just like, they're talking catering, I'm out. But so change the way you think. And this is what I love about Networking Riches, because it helps you approach things in a completely different way. Most people go to networking events and they're trying to talk to as many people as possible and gather as many business cards as they can and give out as many business cards as they can. If you approach with the techniques that you learn in Networking Riches, hey, Zeph girl, then your whole world is going to open up, and you're going to be seeing things in a whole different way and making connections like you have never made before. We've still got day 2 to go. So if you want to come, I should have put it on the bottom. Oh, actually, I can. I have the power. This is my podcast, my rules. I'm changing the banner. Hang a sec. There we go. You've still got time to come. You can come and join us tomorrow. Yes, you'll be coming in on the follow-up side of the business of networking. And we're going to have more breakthroughs tomorrow. So, you can still come along as my guest. Just go to HaveToNetwork.com and you can join us for day 2. And if you upgrade to VIP, you get recordings of the whole thing. Yeah. So you get to see the day 1 stuff, which is really cool. There was a lot of aha moments in there today from some people. And we had a lot of people who have never been to Networking Riches before. And some of the comments that were going into the chat, and some of the people who private chatted me, were saying, how is it I never knew about this before? This is amazing. There were all those sorts of comments coming through. And people would private chat me about how much they were enjoying Networking Riches, and like, we didn't know about this. This is awesome. And other people putting comments into the things about breakthroughs that they were having during the session, their aha moments. And I have to tell you, that just excites me when people do that, when people get it. And the timing's not right for everybody, and I get that. I know there's times that I've been like, but I will tell you this. I will tell you from personal experience. But when I was living in San Diego, I would drive up to Los Angeles once a month for our Platinum Inner Circle meetings, which is my mastermind group I belong to. And there'll be Saturdays I would wake up because I had to leave between 6 and 6:15 in the morning in order to make it for the 9 o'clock start. Now you're probably thinking, well, that's strange, but if you don't live in California, those that live in California are totally going to get this because of the traffic patterns. If I left after 6, if I left between 6 and 6:15, I would be in the San Fernando Valley in an hour and a half, including stopping for gas and food. And that 90 minutes, I would throw on yoga pants and a t-shirt, and I would drive up there. And then when I got there, I would go and get changed into more business-like attire. But if I left after 6:15, so I would get there in an hour and a half, which is what, 6:15, 7:15. I would get there after 7:30 for a 9 o'clock thing, which is fine. I didn't mind that because it meant that I was avoiding the traffic. So here's the thing. If I left by 6:15, an hour, 7:15, 8:45, 7:45, I would get up there. Around 7:40, just before 8 o'clock, between 7:45 and 8 o'clock is when I'd arrive. If I left after 6:15, between 6:15 and 6:30, I would barely make it there by 9 o'clock. And I hate being late, because if you're on time, you're late. Think about that. If you've got a job and your job starts at 8 o'clock and you show up at 8 o'clock, you've got to go, you go to your desk, you sit down, you got to turn the computer on, you've got to get your cup of coffee, you got to put your stuff away that you've carried on, take your jacket off, get kind of like me, who used to catch the train into work when I used to work in Wellington. I'd catch the train into work. I would walk from the train station up to my office. I would do it in sneakers, and when I got into the office, I would change into my office attire, shoes. And if you're doing all of that in prep, and it's like 8:15, 8:20, that you're now ready to start work, yet your start time is 8 o'clock. If you show up 15 to 20 minutes before that 8 o'clock, then you've got time to get yourself settled. And then when that 8 o'clock ticks over, you're ready to go to work. So if you're on time, you're actually late. Think about that. So with driving from San Diego up to LA for the mastermind group once a month, I had to leave between 6 and 6:15. So I would be there ready to go at 9 o'clock instead of racing in at like 8:50, barely get 8:50, 8:55, barely having time to get changed, grab a seat, grab some water or whatever, and sit down and be ready to go. And had no time to network with anybody at the beginning of the day. So that 15 minutes makes a huge difference. And so there are times when I got up in the morning, and I am a morning person. Okay, I am a morning person. But there were some mornings, thankfully not many of them, that I would wake up and I'd be like, I really can't be bothered. And I'd like think in my head, I've got to drive up to LA, got to deal with the traffic on the way home, because the way home would always take 2.5 to 3 hours to get home. 90 minutes to get up there, 2 to 3 hours to get home. Sometimes longer depending on the traffic, or if there was an accident and you got to get rerouted around it. But usually between 2.5 to 3 hours. And and I was just sort of like, I really don't feel like going through all of that. And I'm like, no. And I would have to tell myself, no, you made the commitment that you were going to be at every meeting. Get your butt out of bed and get moving. And I will tell you, those days where I was sort of like dreading the drive up there and then the drive home, and I could be doing this and that and the other thing, those were the days that I picked up that were the most impactful for me, because I needed to be there to hear whatever message was being sent to me that day. There was something in that session that day. I had to be there to learn. And because I got my butt out of bed, even though I was like, oh, I really don't feel like doing this, I did it anyway. And that's part of the price that you have to pay to get to where you want to go. Is I got it, I made the commitment. I have to do it whether I want to or not. And some people will half make a commitment. So like, oh yeah, I'm going to be there every single month. I'm going to do da. And then they get partway and they're like, oh, I really don't feel like doing that drive. Oh, I have to get online. That means I got to have the camera on. I got to look camera ready. And oh, there's a mess behind my chair. What am I going to do about that? Buy a set of curtains and hang them up. You only have to look good from here up. If you got pajama pants on I've got yoga pants on, yoga shorts on right now underneath this top. And I'm comfortable. Trust me, was it a couple of weeks ago? Yeah, a couple of weekends ago, I was over in Scottsdale and I was attending my very first in-person workshop in, I don't know, over 4 years. I think it was coming up on 4 years, 3 years, 3.5 to 4 years. I had to dress like packing, and I'm like, oh, I can't put yoga shorts. And I'm like dressing for like being on camera, right? And I'm like picking out my outfits and all of that. And I'm like, oh, hang on. Yeah, I need actual pants. I need to put pants on, not yoga pants. I'm like, crap. And I'm trying to think, do I have anything here at the house, or is there anything over in the RV? And I'm like, we'll make this work. I didn't have to go buy any new clothes. I didn't have to go to the RV. I actually had some pants with me that I thought, yep, that'll do. Because somebody else said, oh, I'm just going to be there in shorts and a t-shirt. And I'm like, okay, I can work with that. But be a little more business-like, but not fully business-like. But I can be casual, smart casual. And so I figured, yeah, we'll do that. And then I was sort of like, oh, shoes. I just live in bare feet. And I put sneakers on to go out for a walk. And then I suddenly remember that I have my bright multicolored sneakers that I've had for like 10 years. They still look brand new because they don't get taken out very often to be worn. And I thought, they'll work. And all the tops that I was wearing all sort of like color coordinated with the shoes. So, it's making that effort. And it's like, oh, well, now I've got to do this and I've got to do that. And you start going down your little to-do list and it's like, do I really want to go? Yes, you made the commitment, do it. So that's what I'm saying. If you have that feeling like you want to come and watch day 2 of Networking Riches, but you're not really sure, just do it anyway. That's my advice for you for today, because it was a really, really great day today. Lots of great information, lots of amazing people showed up. And this really interesting conversation, private chat with one person. I actually had my genealogy hat on and sort of like, oh, I'm more curious about this. And so started asking some questions and things. And that was more on the genealogy side of stuff, but it was okay. It was good. And when we got to the being back and fully participating and everything else, we'll do that another time. But yeah, it was a great day. So if you're hesitant about coming, it's free. If you use my link, haftonetwork.com, it's free. Unless you upgrade to, and when you've got the opportunity to upgrade to VIP, which is like $97. But you'll get the recordings of both days. So come join us. Come join us. Anyway, I got a pup that wants to go for WALK, and I just realized I'm sitting here, my stomach's grumbling. I'm like, oh, what have I eaten today? I haven't had anything to eat since lunchtime, and that was a protein shake. When we broke for lunch, I did one of my protein shakes that has all sorts of good stuff in it. And I was like, oh yeah, probably need to go eat something first before we go for a walk so I don't keel over. Hopefully it's cooler than 103 degrees outside, but we'll see. Anyway, come join us at Networking Riches tomorrow. You may even just learn that one little nugget that you need to push you over the edge to increase your business. So take the risk. Come join us. Take the challenge. Are you going to challenge? Yes. How challenging? I don't know. My brain's fried right now. But come join us if you can. It was a phenomenal day today, and I know tomorrow's going to be even better. For some reason, day 2 is better than day 1. I think because, I don't know, day 2 just seems to be received a lot better than day 1 is. I don't know. But day 1 is phenomenal and day 2's better. So come join us. Have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here at 6 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow evening for the recap of day 2. Hei konara.